Hello Stampers, Kelly Atchison at stampabove.com coming to you from beautiful Sheridan, Wyoming. I am still here with my friends Dina and Barb back there. And today I am going to be featuring a really cool watercoloring technique called Magic Water Stamping. This is part of the Totally Techniques blog hop for May. I'm also going to be using the Lovely You. This is a brand new stamp set, and it coordinates with the Lovely Labels Pick a Punch, which is also a brand new product. These are coming out June 3rd when our new catalog goes live, so that's really exciting. All right, we're going to flip this camera around. We have a little unicorn magic happening here too, besides the magic water stamping. I am going to flip my camera around and show you how to do this technique, show you some new products. We're going to talk about those. Don't forget, at the end of the video, there's going to be a link to head over to my blog. This is part of a technique blog hop. Everybody's going to be making technique cards today with watercoloring. There's going to be a whole array of different types of watercolor techniques to share with you. I think we're ready. I am so excited to be sharing this new stamp set with you. Lovely You, of course, has some beautiful font greetings in here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different sentiments and some really fun elements to go with the stamp set. Now, like I said, this coordinates with the Lovely Labels Pick a Punch, and you have 3 different channels here for a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1 inch strip that you can go in here and make these labels with. You've got this kind of a little more ornate label and a little squared off label. And again, you can do 3 different sizes in here. So I'm going to show you how these work also. And I'm excited to be using the new Misty Moonlight in color. This is one of our beautiful new in colors. Kind of reminds me of blue jeans. So color is kind of like blue jeans. We have a 5.5 by 8.5 inch card base. And then we're going to bring in the new brass foil sheets. These are beautiful. This particular layer is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And remember, you can find all of these dimensions on my blog. Whisper White piece. This is the piece that we're going to do our technique on. And this is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. I've also got a piece of black for our sentiment that is 1 inch by 4 1/4, and a piece of Whisper White for the inside that's 4 by 5 1/4. I also have a little sliver of that brass paper that we're going to be using to put on the inside. So the larger of the white layers is for the inside of our card, and we can go ahead. I'm just going to keep it really simple, but I think this is going to be super classy to add this little 1/4 inch strip of the brass foil sheet to the inside. Just going to add this little 1/4 inch strip. Now this would have been a piece that I was going to throw away when I was trimming up my layers. And I thought, wow, I thought this would look really cool on the inside. I think it's going to be pretty classy looking. So we can put that on the inside right away. And I love the brass color with the new blue. I just think that's really pretty too. There we go. What do you think? That's pretty cool, right? Okay, here we're going to do some stamping with our sentiment. Okay, we're going to be using Versamark ink for this. This is the sentiment that says, "Trust me, you're lovely." And we're going to stamp that right here. Then I kind of like to pick it up and look at it and see if it's straight before I go any further. And it does look pretty straight. I'm using white embossing powder. I like the way that the white embossing powder is going to pop on this black. Ooh, I did a pretty good job, right? Okay, I'm going to take this over to my heat tool and heat set it. I'll be right back. And here we go. Now, we're going to punch this end of this layer, and I'm going to use the Ornate. Okay, so we had a few little technical difficulties here. I have my sentiment embossed with white embossing powder. Now I'm just going to put it into the punch, and as you can see, there are 3 different channels on each side here. And we've got a 1 inch, a 3/4 inch, and a 1/2 inch that you can cut with this. Now I'm going to slide this right into the label that's kind of got a little bit more rounded edge or ornate edge at the bottom. I like to kind of turn it over and look at it from the back and just punch it, and then you get this fancy little edge down here that I think is really cool. Then I'm also showing you guys the brand new ribbon here, the Misty Moonlight ribbon. Okay, we're going to take that and wrap it around the end of the sentiment layer. Then we're going to be ready to get on to our watercolor technique. I'm just going to tie that in a nice little knot here. Trim off the ends. And then I've got my black dimensionals. Now, if you guys haven't gotten any of these, they come in a combo pack. You get mini black dimensionals and larger black dimensionals. And we'll get this ready to roll. So I'm just going to set that aside now. I'm going to bring in that smaller white layer. This is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, and this is where our technique is going to come in. So I just happen to have this Misty Moonlight little Stampin' Spot. It was part of our May paper pumpkin kit, so I felt like I got kind of lucky there. We haven't been able to get the new in colors yet, but I do have this new in color because I'm a paper pumpkin subscriber. Now I'm going to come in with my lighter color first, and I always like to do 2 colors with this magic water stamping. So I've got one of our sponge daubers here. I'm using Bermuda Bay ink, and I'm just going to kind of bring some ink in, and we're going to cover this entire layer. You want to make sure you leave room for your other color, and that's where the blue is going to come in. So we've got that Bermuda Bay, and then we're going to use the Misty Moonlight. Let's see how this looks. Here's our Misty Moonlight. This is a really pretty color. Now what I found when I was doing this magic water technique, I have another sample to show you where I use some different colors. And then I have another sample where I use some colors that didn't really work that good for this. We'll talk about that a little bit so that I can save you from doing that also. And you'll know it really does work better with some darker colors rather than light colors for this technique. I'm just going to come back in here and make this just a little bit darker, kind of smooth out the edges on the blue a little bit. You can just keep going until you get the color intensity that you're looking for, but I can tell you that you need it to be darker rather than lighter. I think that looks really good. This is just kind of a real pretty background. Now I'm going to bring in 2 stamps from the Lovely You stamp set. These are some of the images down here. And I just chose 2 of them. And I've got a spritzer. I got this filled up with water. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spritz on my rubber stamps. I'm going to choose kind of the bigger image here first. And you just add a little water to that. And then you stamp. And you kind of hold it there for a few seconds. And then you're going to let it out. Just like magic. Thank you, Dina. She was standing right behind me. I'm like, what is she doing? thought, well, maybe she wants to see this whole thing happen. Okay, and you just keep going around and you stamp. You missed. And then I like to kind of wipe this off in case you've picked up any color. And do it again. There we go. And you're just going to randomly stamp these images on the background that you've added the ink to. Whoops. Make sure that you are spritzing your stamp. Sometimes that's like the hardest part. And I like to just kind of move it around, randomly stamp. And now you can kind of see it takes a little bit for the magic to happen. But you can see where these flowers are like the ink is lighter in color where we stamped it with the rubber. The water, I should say, the wet part. Oh my Lord. And now I'm going to use this image and I'm just going to come in and add these cool little spriggy leaves. I think this would be a really cool technique with, we've got a brand new whale set coming out in our new catalog that goes live next Wednesday. I think this would be a really cool background for that. And again, it's fairly wet. And I think I'll just come right down in here in the middle. And maybe one more right over here, and then we're going to be good. So you just make it as busy as you want. And there we go. And now as this dries, you can see how that's really getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and it just leaves kind of a watermark effect. Okay, we're going to let this dry a little bit. We're going to put the rest of our card together. I'm going to take a piece of vellum cardstock and our butterfly duet punch. I want a big butterfly. And this little butterfly we'll save for something else. So I've got my big butterfly here. Then I also wanted little butterfly out of that brass foil paper. So we've got our little butterfly here. We'll set that right over there. And I think we are ready for assembly. So I'm going to take this brass paper. This is also, did I say this was new? I think I said this is new. The brass foil sheets are a brand new product coming out next week. And they are gorgeous. And then we're going to take this layer. And if you need to, you can hit it with your heat gun to help it dry a little faster. We're going to just add that to this copper layer. There we go. And then we've got our sentiment that's going to come in right over here. And the butterflies. So I'm just going to add a little dot of glue to the back of my vellum butterfly, and I'm going to put my butterfly right over here, but I want that wing to kind of go up on my sentiment a little bit. It gives it a 3D effect without really having to do anything special for it. And then I've got a mini dimensional here that I'm going to put right on the butterfly, and then bring in this brass butterfly. Now, I thought I needed some little type of embellishment. So, another brand new product is the In Color Enamel Dots. Those are also going to be available next week. And I'm just going to grab one of these blue ones because it's going to match our card base. Oops, I almost had it. There we go. And I'm going to set that right down here in the middle of my butterfly. Okay, and isn't that just beautiful? You can see it's getting lighter and lighter on that background. So here's the inside of our card, classy with that brass strip. Then I've got another one to show you. This I made with Gorgeous Grape and Bermuda Bay, and I used a different flower from that lovely U stamp set. And then I made this label, and I'll show you how I did that real quick. Because we have 3 different channels, we can do, oh, I got that really straight. We can do several different things with this, so you can do some layering, and that's kind of what these are made for. I'm going to use the other label over here. I'm going to push that all the way in and punch it, okay? And then I've got a piece of that brass, and by the way, this was 3/4 wide, this is 1 inch wide. So we're going to do a little layering with this. Now this is a little shorter piece here, and it's just a scrap to show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to come in and make sure I've got it straight here on the back. I always kind of like to check that if the piece is a little shorter, especially then. But now you can take this and you can layer it onto other layers of cardstock and get this. And that's how I did this label right in here. And the other thing I really like about this is I've used the gilded gems. Those are gold, and this is the brass foil paper, but because these are so small, you can't really tell that they're gold and these are brass, so they're a fabulous embellishment to use along with this paper. And then of course on the inside, I did that little strip, 1/4 inch strip of the brass paper. And then the other one that I wanted to show you is this layer. Now this one I used pumpkin pie and melon mambo. This didn't turn out so good. This is kind of a lighter color combination. You can see, you really can't see the magic water stamping technique on that one, as well as you can see it on the background of this one and also this one. So just a little tip, if you're going to give this a try, stick with your darker colors. They seem to work a lot better with that technique. All right, you guys. Don't forget, you're going to want to click up here to head over to my blog so you can see what the Totally Technique design team did with watercoloring. I'm sure there's going to be a great array of different techniques that they're going to share with you. Also, don't forget to click down here to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You don't want to miss anything I have coming out. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator you're in the United States, I would be happy to send you that brand new catalog that goes live on Wednesday. Pop me an email right here at kelly@astampabove.com and I can get that out in the mail to you right away. And we have the magic unicorn again. Thank you guys so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend it with me. Bye-bye.